Hello everyone, it's Harmony, and welcome to the visual raid guide for the Ascension Arcadia Championship Cruiserweight M2. This is the second boss of the 8-player raid made available in patch 7.2 and is unlocked by completing the quest Art at War. Just a quick warning before we begin. The outer edges of the arena are a danger zone, and touching it will result in instant death. Moose Mural is a group-wide attack that deals unavoidable damage to all party members. Healers be ready. Single style can have one of 4 possible effects, depending on what the boss paints, similar to a Pictomancer. I will explain each effect one at a time, so don't feel overwhelmed. The first is Paint Bombs, which will conjure up to 3 bombs at the targeted locations, that will each explode in a large circular AoE when they appear. You can easily avoid this attack by moving as far away from the bombs as possible. The second are Heaven Bombs, which will conjure up to 3 winged bombs at the targeted locations that will jump to the opposite side of the battlefield before exploding in a large circular AoE. You can avoid this attack by running to the bombs as they are being summoned. The third is Sweet Shot. This will conjure arrows at 2 of the outer edges of the arena. These arrows will each fire as a frontal linear AoE for the entire length of the battlefield. You will need to stand between the gaps of both sides to avoid taking damage. The fourth and final effect is Throw Up Target. This summons an archery target in the centre of the battlefield. This target will attract any Sweet Shot arrows on the field to it, changing Sweet Shot's pattern to a bow tie shape. Pudding Party will target a random player with a multiple striking stack marker. The group will need to stand together to share the incoming damage until the attack animation has stopped. Colour Riot will target both tanks with a circular AoE tank buster, use defensive cooldowns and shields to mitigate it. The tanks will also need to move away from each other to avoid overlapping damage, while also avoiding other party members. Sugarscape will paint a desert landscape on the canvas at the north of the arena, altering the battlefield's appearance. The effects of Sugarscape will last until the boss uses Moose Mural. The boss will then use Layer, which adds to the Sugarscape's canvas, altering its effects. When a sun is layered, all players will be given the Sweltering debuff, which deals minor damage over time. When cacti are layered, numerous sets of cacti will grow in random locations of the battlefield, before exploding in circular AoEs, once they become fully grown. You will need to maneuver between each set as they grow to avoid taking damage. This can be tricky but will get easier with practice. When a sinkhole is layered, a massive quicksand trap will be summoned in the centre of the battlefield. You will need to quickly move to the very corners of the battlefield, or sink before instantly dying. The quicksand trap will then move to one edge of the arena, cutting the battlefield size in half as more cacti begin to grow, which you will need to avoid as before. Moose Touch-Up will target all players with a circular area of effect for unavoidable damage, spread out to prevent overlapping damage from one another. Double Style will use 2 random effects of the single style weaponry for a synchronized attack. As a reminder, those are Paint Bombs, Heaven Bombs, Sweet Shot and Throw Up Target. You will need to handle this mechanic as needed depending on what the boss paints. The boss will use Sugarscape again, only now, painting a scenic landscape. In this landscape, standing inside the river will grant you resistance to fire damage, but a weakness to lightning. This will matter later. Taste of Thunder will target all players with a circular area of effect for unavoidable damage, spread out to prevent overlapping damage from one another, while also making sure not to stand inside the river. Taste of Fire will target 2 random players with a stack marker. The group will need to split in 2 and share the incoming damage of both attacks. You cannot all stack together as one cluster, as this will result in a group KO. You will also want to stand inside the river. The boss will layer a thunderstorm, causing thunder to strike around the battlefield as small circular AoEs, which you will need to avoid. While the thunderstorm rages, standing inside the river will also deal heavy damage over time, so make sure to use the bridges. The boss will now layer a tempest, summoning a huge storm cloud. This storm cloud will slowly move between the 3 grass platforms. When the cloud is fully within one of these platforms, it will pulse with lightning for a huge circular AoE. You will need to keep moving as far as possible from this cloud, while still manoeuvring between the other effects of the storm. These mechanics will now repeat with increased overlap until the boss is defeated. Thank you for watching. I hope you found the guide helpful. And most importantly, take care of yourself and each other.